Welcome back again to the class on percentages. So guys, so far we have done 10 questions. So let's discuss further questions. Before that, I just want you to revise the concept. I want you to remember what is 1 by 6 in the term of percentage, what is 5 by 6 in the term of percentages, what is 44.44%. If you write in fraction, how that will become. If I ask you what is 283%, 283.33% of 12, how much that value will become. So you need to recollect these concepts. If you are ready to do that, then you are ready to welcome me in the next class. So in this class, we're going to continue further and we're going to discuss from question number 11. So let's start this class. So guys, I believe you still remember the concept of percentage, and in this we have now question number 11. So in question number 11, what they're talking about, there's a person called P, and P scored 35% marks, and there's another person called Q scored 40% marks. So question is that which of the following statement is not true? Fine. So P scored 35% marks, just assume like that. Okay, and there's another person called Q, he scored 40% marks. Okay, then see which statement is not correct. You can pause the video any moment you want, try to solve the question, and then you can come back. Okay, so I'm doing this question. So here Q scored 35 marks more than P when the total marks is 700. So if the total marks is 700 and here the Q scored 40% marks, 40% of 700 would be what? That would be 280. Okay, and then what is 35% of 700? So you can calculate it, 5% less. What would be the 5% less? So let's try to work on those framework. So here if your total marks is 700, okay, so P got 40% marks, okay, and Q got 35% marks. Fine. So if you want to find what is 35% of 700, so you need to do what is 35 sevens are. Okay, you can do that calculation, or what you can understand here, guys. If you see P and Q, what is 10% of 700? 10% of 700, it would be 70. Okay. So what would be the 5% of 700? It would be 35. Clear everyone? Half of 75% is a half of 10%. Okay. Then what is 40%? 40% would be nothing but 7 fours are. So that would be 280. Okay. What would be 30%? 30% would be 210. Clear everyone? So what is 5%? 5% value you already know. So what is 35%? That would be 210 plus 35, you will get 245. So if you know what is 35 sevens, you can do the same way, or you can do like this way. So P got 280 marks, Q got 245 marks. So what is the difference here, guys? You can find the difference. The difference would be definitely would be 35 only. So here Q scored 35 marks more than P, okay, when the total marks is 700. So okay, so you can just take this as Q and P, just ignore this part. So this was Q and this was P. So here Q scored 35 marks more than P. I hope everyone understood this is a correct statement. Okay, then Q scored 5% more than P. Please understand, Q does not score 5% more than P. Please understand, when you talk in the term of percentage, here Q scored how much more than P? That is nothing but 1 by 7, 14.29%. It won't be 5%. So it is actually, if you want, there's a word called percentage point. Okay, there's a word called percentage point. So Q scored 5 percentage point more than P. Okay, but Q does not score 5% more than P. Please understand that part. Percentage is different from percentage point. Okay, here Q is getting 40%, P is getting 35%. Okay, so if you find how much percentage Q got more than P, so you need to find the difference. What we compare? We are comparing Q minus P. And by whom we are comparing? We are comparing with P. So you have to do 5 by 35 into 100. 5 by 35 into 100 if you do, that is nothing but 1 by 7 into 100. 1 by 7 into 100, you will get 14.29%. It won't be 5%. It will be 5 percentage point. So make yourself clear with this concept. So here the wrong statement would be option B. Okay, option C, QP scored 12.5% less than Q. I hope you can understand this part. So if I take here P and if I take here Q, so P got 35% marks, Q got 40% marks. Okay, so if I'm asking you Q is what percentage more than P, Q is what percentage more than P, so what you will do in percentage, what we compare, so what we are comparing Q minus P, and by whom we are comparing, we are comparing in the term of P into 100. So Q got how much more than P? So 5 by 35 into 100. If you do this, you will get 14.29%. Yesterday already I have shown you this calculation. Fine. Then if I ask you P is what percentage less than Q? If I am asking you P is what percentage less than Q, guys, so please understand, if Q is how much, 14.29% more than P, then P won't be 14.29% less than Q. You have to understand this very much fact in the concept of percentage. So here P is how much percent less than Q. So here what you need to do, you need to do Q minus P, and here you need to do in what framework, you need to do in the term of Q. So here the difference is 5 by 40 into 100, that will give you the answer called 12.5%. So I hope this fact is clear with everyone. So please remember this part, that if A is 1 by X more than B, if A is 1 by X more than B, then B is 1 by X plus 1 less than A. Please remember this part. So this logic will work in all the sense of mathematics where C is equal to A into B. In maths, if C is equal to A into B, distance is equal to speed into time, you can say area is equal to length into breadth, expenditure is equal to price into consumption. In any property of mathematics, if one variable is equal to product of another two variable, if that variable is constant, here if C is constant, if A is inversely proportional to B, then always this logic will work. Similarly, if A is 1 by X less than B, if A is 1 by X less than B, then B is 1 by X minus 1 more than A. Remember this logic. This will work in all the sense when the two variables are inversely proportional to each other. So here if you see in the term of P and Q, so Q is how much percent more than P? That is nothing but 14.29. 14.29 means 1 by 7. So here Q is 1 by 7. Here Q is 1 by 7 more than P. Here Q is 1 by 7 more than P. So P is how much less than Q? P is 1 by 8 less than Q. Please understand this. Simple. 1 by 7 is 14.29 and 1 by 8 is 12.5%. So I hope you have understood this part. So if Q is 14.29% more than P, then P is 12.5% less than Q. I hope you are getting this part, very basic thing. So you don't have to work too much on mathematics. If you remember this framework will be very important for you. So I'll show you the questions based on this framework. You can do the questions very easily based on this framework. I hope this part is clear. Please make a note of this. You can pause the video anytime you want, but make sure you note it down this point. Okay. Going further, the same logic. So the same logic, you can remember this. So I said if P is 1 by X more than Q, if P is 1 by X more than Q, then Q is, I told you, Q is how much? 1 by X plus 1 less than P. Okay. So you can remember, you can do like this way, or you can remember in the other way, like you can talk in the term of percentage. So if P is R percentage more than Q, then Q is R by 100 plus R into 100% less than P. You can remember in the term of percentage also. So if you remember that time the P was how much? 14.29, right? 14.29. So if P is 14.29% more than Q, then Q is how much? This would be nothing but 14.29 by 114.29 into 100. If you do this, you'll get 12.5% if you want. So you can do like this way, but this tend to be complicated. So I avoid doing like this way. I just follow the fraction way, that become much more easier for us. So if P is 1 by X more than Q, then Q is 1 by X plus 1 less than P. Very basic thing. Okay. Similarly, P is R percent more than Q, then Q is R by 100 plus R percent less than P. In other way, here, in other way, similarly, you can remember that if P is R percent less than Q, if P is R percent less than Q, then Q is R by 100 minus R into 100% more than P. So it's all up to you, whatever way you want to remember. You can remember in the term of fraction that 1 by X more, if P is 1 by X more, then Q would be 1 by X plus 1 less. If P is 1 by X less, then Q would be 1 by X minus 1 more. So you can remember, like imagine every day I go from my home to school, and today I increase my speed by 20%. So how much time I'll take less? So if my speed is 20% more, 20% is 1 by 5. So if my speed is 1 by 5 more, that time would be 1 by 6 less. It would be 16.67%. So simple concept, you can remember. This logic will work whenever the two variables are inversely proportional to each other. So in maths, when you are working on maths, so when you are working in maths, so when you are working on maths, so if C is equal to A into B, so if A and B are inversely proportional, you can follow this logic. If they are not inversely proportional, A is also changing, B is also changing, then what would be the percentage change? That we have discussed yesterday. I hope you remember, right? What was the formula? Just you can write down in the comment option. What is the formula? Imagine if you A change by A%, B change by B%, then what would be the net percentage change? So that we have discussed, that would be A% plus B% plus AB by 100%. Okay, that would be the net effect on C. So these are basic things we have already discussed a lot in the last sessions. I hope you still remember these concepts, because the same concept you use in time and work. The same concept will apply in time, speed and distance. The same concept you use in compound interest. The same concept you're going to work on profit and loss. So it's very much important that your logic and basics of percentages, ratios and proportions should be very clear. Okay, now going back to the question. So here you understood. So P would score how much percent less? So P would score 12.5% less, and Q would have scored 14.28% or 29% more than P. So here this framework, this is also correct, this is also correct. So which statement is not correct? Option B is not correct. Clear everyone? I hope this part is clear with everyone. Now we'll discuss question number 12. Question number 12 is like that: in an examination, a student secured 30% marks and he failed by 20 marks. Okay, so if assume that the total marks is M, okay, so you got 30% marks, means 0.3 M. I hope you don't mind if I write 0.3 M. So I assume the total marks as M. So 30% marks you got means you got 0.3 M, and you have failed by 20 marks. So means if you add 20 here, you will get pass. Imagine 50 is the passing marks, you got 30 marks. So how you will get the passing marks? If you add 20, the remaining. So this is the passing marks. Another student who secured 55% marks, another student who secured 55% marks, he exceeds the passing marks by 35. Clear everyone? Basic simple calculation you have to do here. So what was the question there? That a student, he secured 30% marks, okay, and if you get further 20 marks, he would have passed. Okay, and there's another student who got 55% marks, okay, and his marks is 35 marks more than the passing marks, right? His marks is 35 marks more than the passing marks. Okay, so this will be your equation. I hope everyone is clear with this equation. So 0.3m plus 20 is equal to 0.55m minus 35. What is m here, guys? M is the total marks. And what I am trying to do, I am trying to compare two student marks. One got less than the passing marks, another one got more than the passing marks. That's why the person who got more than passing marks, his marks is 35 more than the passing marks. That's why from his total marks I deducted 35. Then this is a basic simple linear equation you can solve. So if 20 will come this 35 will come this side, so minus sign will become plus, and 0.55m and 0.3m will come this side, it become minus. So this is what? This is 55. 55 is equal to 0.25m. I hope you still remember 0.25m is nothing but 1 by 4. So 55 is equal to 1 by 4 of total marks. So 55 into 4 is nothing but 55. You know 50, right? 50 table you know. So you can just add 5 on that. So 55 ones are 55. 55 twos are would be 110. So 4s are would be 110 twos are. So that would be 220. So what is your total marks? Your total marks would be 220. Clear? I hope this is a very basic equation. You can easily solve this. So what is the answer for this question? The answer for this question would be 220. Clear? Fine. So now you can try question number 13. You can try by yourself. You can assume that the circle with a radius 1, okay, radius, you can assume anything. I just assume as 1. If the radius increase by 20%, how much it will become? 1.2. I don't think you will have doubt on this part. So what is the formula of area of the circle? Pi r square. So what is the area formula? Pi r square. If you do, you will get pi here, and here what is the area? 1.2 square. So 1.44 pi. Okay, so how much the area increased? Earlier it was pi, now it become 1.44 pi, so it increased by 44%. You can do like that way, or the other way of doing this question would be what? I'll just show you. Other way, you can, you know the formula of the area of the circle as pi r square. So here pi is constant, okay, and r will change by 2 times because the formula is r square. Okay, r again r. So you know the formula. Yesterday I told you that if C is equal to A into B, then what is the net percentage change? Same logic. I'm just telling you the shortcut way of doing this. So you can remember this. If the two variables are there, x and y, x changed by x percentage, y changed by y percentage, then the net percentage change would be x percent plus y percent plus xy by 100%. So here you what happened? Your radius change by 20%. If your radius increase by 20%, what is the percentage change in circumference? Anyone, can you write down in the comment option what would be the percentage change in circumference? Okay, the percentage change in circumference would be what? It would increase by 20% only. It will not increase by 44% because the formula of circumference of the circle is 2 pi r. So there 2 is constant, pi is constant, and r is increasing by 20%. And so if r increase by 20%, then your circumference will also increase by 20%. But when I talk about area here, when I'm talking about area, guys, so please understand, in this formula r square is there. So r is changing 2 times, 20% followed by 20%. So 20%, again, if it change by 20%, the net percentage change will not be 40%. So it will be 20% plus 20% plus 20 into 20 by 100. If you solve this, this is 40, this is 40 plus, this is 400 by 100, this is 4, this will give you 44%. So you can think like this way. Imagine if this would have been cube. Okay, so if you talk about cube, what is the formula of the volume of the cube? Side cube. And if imagine if the edge of the cube increased by 20%, okay, then what is the percentage increase in the volume of the cube? So that would be 20% plus 20%. If you take, you will get 44%. Then you take 44 and 20. Okay, then you should take 44 and 20. Take 44% plus 20% plus 44 into 20 by 100. You solve this, you will get the answer. Okay, so I hope you are getting the logic. So this way you can work on any problems on percentages. Clear? So let's go to the next question and try to discuss further more questions. So we have done 13th question. The answer of the 13th question is 44%. Clear everyone? If you have any doubt, you can please use the comment option. You can ask as many doubts you can. Okay, so I'm going to the next question. The question number 14 is a question of alligation and mixture. Alligation mixture is again a concept which you should know. It is a sub part of ratio, proportion, or percentages where we are using the basic logic. You can easily understand this. If you studied chemistry also, you know these facts and all. So acidic solution, basic solution, alkaline solution. Anyway, going further from chemistry, let's come back to mathematics. So this is question number 14 where they're talking about there's a mixture of acid and water and the total volume of the mixture is 25 liter. I can ask you 1 liter is equal to how much decimeter cube and all, 1 meter cube is equal to how many liter in physics. Anyway, going further, in this question you have a mixture of 25 liter. In that 20% is the acid. Okay, what is 20% of 25 liter? That would be 5 liter. Okay, so 5 liter is the acid. So if you have 25 liter mixture, in that 5 liter is the acid. So here you have acid. Which acid? Forget about whichever the acid is there, acetic acid or whatever. And the water, can I write H2O for that? Anyway, I hope you remember what is H2O. So your acid is 5 liter and your water is 20 liter. Okay, so if 20% is the acid, then the water would be 80%. I hope, because this is a mixture of only acid and water. Okay, what quantity of water should we add it so that the level of acid become 10%? Okay, now right now I am having 20% acid mixture which contain 20% acid. Okay, question is that how much percentage of water should I add here so that the percentage of acid become 10%? If the percentage of acid become 10% means automatically what you're expecting the water percentage to become 90%. So how that is possible? That is possible because you are adding water here. So please do not get yourself confused. This is a very simple framework. Okay, let's try to do this question. So we have acid 5 liter. Sorry, 5 is not coming properly. So we have acid 5 liter. This is 5 liter acid and we have water 20 liter. Total is 25 liter. This is what given in the problem. Okay, so what we are doing, we are adding water into this. Okay, how much liter of water I am adding? Suppose X liter of water I'll add here. So what is the objective? The objective is that you should get 10% acid. So if you add water into this, there will not be any change in the volume of the acid. Acid was earlier 5 liter, it would be still 5 liter. Okay, now if you are adding water into that, so earlier the water which was earlier 20 liter, suppose if you add X liter water, it will become 20 plus X, and this, if this is 10%, this will become 90%. Clear everyone? And the total volume is 25 plus X. Why 25 plus X? Because you are adding X liter water, right? So if you are adding X liter water, the total volume from 25 liter, it will increase by something, right? So that something is 25 plus X. What I want? I want the percentage of acid as 10%. So means the ratio of acid was 5 by the percentage or ratio of water is 20 plus X. I want this as 10 by 90. Means 10%. If I want acid, then definitely the water percentage should from 80%, that should become 90%. This is nothing but 1 by 9. Okay, I hope you don't mind. So if I write 1 by 9, so let me just erase the 0 from here. So 0, so if I erase 0 from here, then what I can do? I can do cross multiply. So I can write 20 plus X is equal to 45. So what is the value of X? X would be 25 liter. So if you add 25 liter water into this, then the acid will remain as a 5 liter, but the water will become 45 liter, and the total it will become 25 plus 25, total it will become 50 liter. and that in the 50 liter the percentage of acid, if the acid is 5 liter, total is 50 liter, so then the percentage of acid would be 5 by 50 into 100, that would be 10%. And if the total is 50 liter, in that if the water is 45 liter, the percentage of water in the mixture, it would be 90%. So very easy question, you can do it very easily. I'll make sure that I'll conduct one session for you for alligation and mixture, where we'll do much more difficult question than this what you are seeing right now. So please do not get pumped up looking at these questions like this. This is very basic questions on alligation and mixture, where the basic knowledge of percentage is required. If you are good with these basic concepts, you can do the question very easily. So this kind of question, mixed questions from one concept, definitely comes in other concept also. Clear with this, right? So let's discuss another question. So far we have done 14 question and the answer for this would be 25 liter. Clear? So in the question number 15, what is given, that in an election between the two candidates, the first candidate received 55% vote. Okay, so if the first candidate got 55% vote, means definitely the loser got how much? 45% vote, because in this kind of question we are always assuming that the two person are fighting for the election. If more than 2% are fighting, then definitely they will give you in the question, don't worry about that part. So the winner got 55% vote. So if your winner got 55% vote, total is 100%, then loser would be getting 45% vote. Then the winner would win by how much percentage vote? Definitely it would win by 10% vote, and that 10% vote is given to you as 1000. So 10% of something is 1000, then the total is 10,000. Very basic question. Clear everyone? You can do it very easily. I hope you understood this. Now we'll discuss question number 16. In question number 16, what they're telling you, due to the reduction in price by 33.33%, 33.33% is nothing but 1 by 3. I hope you know this part. Don't tell me that you are not aware about this fact. Okay, so due to the reduction in price of apple by 33.33%, okay, the men get 25 apple extra. Okay, if you spend 75 rupees, find the reduced price per apple. So if you don't know basic knowledge of percentage, you can do step by step like the way you do in schools, or here you can use the logic. Like if you remember, I have explained you that if a is 1 by x more than b, then b is 1 by x plus 1 less than a, while if a is 1 by x less than b, then b is 1 by x minus 1 more than a, if the product of two variable is constant. So here if you understand in this question, the expenditure is same in both the case. The expenditure is 75 rupees. Okay, but the price is now decreased by 1 by 3. So guys, please understand, if your expenditure is equal to price into consumption, okay, and if your price decrease by 1 by 3, then your consumption will increase by 1 by 2. I hope you are getting this part. In case if you're not getting, you can just solve it by step. I'll show you the step by step calculation also. So whatever was your consumption, now your consumption will increase by 1 by 2. 1 by 2 means 50%. Okay, so that is given here. How much the consumption increase? It increased by 25 apple. So guys, please understand that your consumption increased by 50%. Earlier whatever was your consumption, now it increased by 50%. So if your consumption was C, if it increased by 50%, it will become 3 by 2C. Okay, 50% more, 150%. Okay, so how much it increased? It increased by 50%. So that 50% is 25 apple. Okay, so what was your original apple used to buy? Used to buy 50 apple. Clear everyone? So your consumption increased by 50%, and that 50% value is given to you as 25 apple. Okay, so if that 50% increase is 25 apple, then means what was your total consumption? Earlier you are consuming 50 apple. Now you are eating 25 apple more. Why? Because the price decreased by 1/3. Okay, so earlier if you are eating 50 apple, and then if your consumption increased by 25 apple more, okay, if your consumption increased by 25 apple more, what is your new consumption? New consumption is 75 apple, and you are paying 75 rupees. So what is the price of one apple? 1 rupee. Okay, very basic. This is the way what I'm expecting from you, that you should solve the question like this way. In case if you are not very clear with what I have done, we can do step by step also. It's not a big deal, we can do, but this is what I'm expecting from your end, that you should think like this way. So let me show you step by step calculation. So suppose my price is suppose 30 something, and my consumption was suppose C. So total expenditure was 75 rupees. Okay, just assume as 30. If you want, I can assume as P also, not a big deal. Okay, anyway, let me take P only. Okay. So this is my price. If my price decrease by 1/3, okay, if your price fall by 1/3, okay, so what is your new price? Your new price would be 2/3. I hope everyone clear with this part. Okay, and what is your new consumption? Your new consumption is C plus 25. You are eating 25 apple more. So this 2/3 P into C plus 25, this is 75. Earlier also this was P into C was 75. Here also this is 75. Let erase this part because I changed the P value. I hope everyone clear with this part. So if I open the bracket here, I'll get 2/3. So I'll get, if I open the bracket here, I'll get 2/3 P plus this is what, 50 P by 3, okay, is equal to 75. Fine everyone. So I just open the bracket, 2/3 P into C, 2/3 P into C plus 2/3 P to 25 2 is 50, 50 by 3 P is equal to 75. This is nothing but this is equal to 75, right? So this is 2/3 into 75 is equal to 2/3 into 75 plus 50 P by 3 is equal to 75. So if you, this will become 50 P by 3 is equal to 75 minus 2/3 would be 1/3. 1/3 of 75 would be 25. Clear? So you can solve this. This is 2za. So what is the value of P? P would be 1.5. So you got the value of P as 1.5. But now the P decreased by 1/3. So if P is 1.5, if it decrease by 1/3, what is 1/3 of 1/3 of 1.5? You will get 0.5. So what is the new P? That would be 1 rupee. Very basic way. You can solve in any way how you want it to be done. So this is the basic framework. Please don't do like this way. So just try to improvise on your technique, how the question can be done. I hope this part is clear with everyone. So earlier I assumed the price is P. I assume my consumption as C. Then my total expenditure would be 75. Now if my price decrease by 1/3, so my price will become 2/3 of the P, and my consumption it increased by 25 apple. So earlier if I was consuming C apple, now I'll consume C plus 25 apple, and this total is again to 75 only. You just solve it, you'll get the value of P as 1.5 rupees. If original price was 1.5 rupees, if it decreased by 33.33%, then how much the price will become? It will become 1 rupee. Clear? Then question number 17. Question number 17 you can do by the formula which I told you, x% plus y% plus xy by 100%. So here the number of seat in the cinema hall, it increased by 25%. If seat increased by 25%, if something increase, put plus sign, something decrease, put minus sign, and the price per ticket decrease by 10%. So if your price decrease by 10%, so your demand increase by, sorry, you increase the number of seat, you increase the number of seat by 25%, and you decrease the price by 10%. Okay, so you are now, you are expecting more footfall, you are expecting more revenue. Okay, so the number of seat you increase by 25% and you decrease the price by 10%. What is the net effect on your revenue? That would be 25% plus minus 10%. Why minus? Because the price is decreasing. Okay, then plus minus 25 into minus 10 by 100%. Okay, you just solve this. 25 minus 10 you will get as 15 plus into minus, you'll get minus 25 into 10 is 250 by 100, or you can just cancel 110 from here. So 25 by 10, that would be nothing but 25 by 10 is 5 by 2, right? Divisible by 5. 5 by 2 is nothing but 2.5. So 15% minus 2.5%, this will give you 12.5%. So again guys, please don't expect me again to do this question by framework like that way, that I assume the number of seat as 100 and price as 100, then my total revenue would be 10,000. You can do like that way, but please try to improvise on your technique. If your number of seat increase by 25%, if your number of seat become 125 and the price become 90, then what is the total revenue? Like that way you can do the question. Again, that is a traditional way. When we were in school, we used to do like that same way, but please try to use these techniques. You get the answer very easily. What is the net effect on the sales? Plus 12.5%. So 12.5%, your sales or revenue will increase. Accounting wise, you need to be careful. So anyway, forget about that part. So this very simple framework. Okay, now question number 18. If you see question number 18, a student must secure 40% marks to pass. Okay, if the student must secure 40% marks to pass, if he get 40 marks, he fail by 40 marks. What is the maximum marks to get the answer? So just try to do this question. Before that, I just erase this framework. You just take your own time, try to solve this question.